there, I'm AJ Steinberg with Queen Bee Fundraising, and I want to talk to you today about sequencing your stage program so that you don't bore your guests to death. Part of the problems with live events is that it's like a first date. You only have 4 hours to meet the guests, make them fall in love with you. That's really fast. So you have to make every moment count, and the most important moments of the entire event are your stage programs. That's the portion where you talk about your mission to the guests, maybe do a live auction, have an honoree, do a paddle raise. Now, one of my pet peeves is that organizations spend hundreds of hours putting together silent auctions, which are great and entertaining and raise a little money, but that's not why the guests are there. They're not there to just shop. The guests are there to fall in love with your organization, and it's up to you to give them a reason to do that. The number one problem with events, if you ask guests when they leave, is that they're boring. You don't want to bore your guests. And the portion that bores them is your stage program if you haven't sequenced it properly. Think of your stage program as like a movie. When you go to a movie, you have a story arc that it follows that entertains and engages you. It's the same with your stage program. So in a movie, you go and the story will introduce you to a character, and it gives you all sorts of details so you feel like you really know them, and then you care about them. If you don't know about a person, you're not going to care about them. Then they take the person and they put them up a theoretical tree. They get them in trouble. There's a problem, and that causes the tension. It rivets the audience, and the audience is actually rooting for that character. And then at the end, there's reconciliation. The problem has been solved, and yet they always leave it so that there's more to come. There's always something else. You've got to leave room for the sequel, right? So at the end, sure, the person may have been saved from something, but you may see them walking into the sunset, and you don't know what's going to be happening after that last frame. It's the same with your stage program. It's the same story arc. You have the introduction of your organization, you make people care, you tell them about the problems you're solving, and then you tell them at the end, yes, we've fixed this, and there's so much more to be done. So an example of that is the proper sequencing for a stage program would be, first, you welcome the guests. You want to start a relationship with them, and then tell them immediately about your organization. Show that mission clip, show that mission video, tell them what programs you have. Most of the people sitting in your audience are guests, and they don't even know about your organization. Don't pass up the opportunity to start building that bond with them. Then, as you go through the evening, you'll do the live auction, which is really engaging. It's actually something that's not passive, just sitting back, but it's interactive and fun and entertaining. So you really grab people then, starting to have a good time together, and that is the key moment that you do your paddle raise after. All eyes are on the stage. Use the momentum created by your live auction to start the paddle raise. The paddle raise or the fund to need, right after the live auction, take a moment and you're really going to bring it down and start telling one riveting story, maybe two, but a riveting story about the problems that are faced and what your organization is doing to fix them. And most importantly, use donor-centric language. The people in the audience, the guests, are the heroes of this story, not you. Just like when you do your direct mailing, you always use donor-centric language. Do that with your event. Throughout the stage program, the hero of this story is always the people sitting in the audience listening. They're the people who are solving the problem. So when you do your paddle raise, you tell that story and you say together, we can fix this. We can make the difference. And then when the paddle raise is over, then you move to a more passive portion of the event, which is they're watching the honoree, they're watching the raffle being pulled. But at the end, have a call to action. They've fallen in love with you. It's like that first date. Let them know how they can become involved with you after the event is over. Have a call to action and make sure that your messaging says, sure, together we have solved this one story's problem, but there's so much more to be done. And that is the moment of engagement at the event that will allow you, when the event is over, to keep in touch with them and to start cultivating them to becoming supporters at different higher levels. I'm AJ Steinberg, and that's one of my favorite things I do as a nonprofit event planner is I sequence my stage programs to make the guests fall in love with the organization.